This yellow stick will point to that blue line, or slightly above it, it's even okay for me. I'd much rather be too shallow at this stage of your swing and have to turn hard to square the club up rather than have... Hi everyone, Alistair Davies here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you for tuning in again today. Today's lesson is all about giving you the information, the knowledge to understand the difference between the over-the-top move on the way down and a correct move on the way down. And essentially what our body's doing differently in both moves and how you can identify that and make changes, and a little way of you feeling then a concept, a rehearsal to make you change your move on the way down to help you play better golf. If you are a first-time viewer, please consider following or subscribing for me and joining my community on here. I post videos every week and they're all really designed to help lower your scores and improve your golf. Keep watching to learn more about the over-the-top move. So as described in the instruction there, today we're talking about the over-the-top move, and this will be the most common move we would see in golfers. My initial start to my downswing is slightly over the top, if you like, with the shaft, and my body action is not quite where I want it to be naturally. I can demonstrate the right moves, but it's not a natural movement for me to do, and I would need to do some reps to make this more natural. Consciously, we can make changes pretty quick. It's whether we can play well with conscious thought, and that's a discussion for another video probably. But certainly we can make changes pretty quick consciously. So today I want to talk about the difference between the over-the-top move and the correct move on the way down, the identifications, what changes in our body, our arms, our wrists, the shaft, the club head, and how we can try and use that information then to make a change in your golf swing to make you swing it better, play better, score better. So I'm just going to use this alignment rod to try and identify for you the difference between the over-the-top and the good move, just from the point of view of what the shaft's doing initially. So if you imagine this blue stick is my ball to target line, and if I start on that ball to target line and I go to the top of the backswing, as I start down, if I do an over-the-top move, this stick will point inside that blue line pretty quickly. Then through contact, the golfers will try and counteract this and stand up and raise their hands to make an effort of getting the club on ball, and also to shallow that swing out, shallow that plane out, that arc out, to get it more neutral. Now when you do a correct move, this yellow stick will point to that blue line, or slightly above it, it's even okay for me in the downswing. I'd much rather you be too shallow at this stage of your swing and then have to turn hard to square that club up, rather than have it too steep and have to slow down with your body and arch your wrists and early extend to get the club on ball. I'd much rather it be slightly too shallow, rotate hard through the golf ball to try and stop it drawing and overdrawing and hooking through the golf ball. That's much more a good player fault, and one that's easier to fix, albeit all faults people don't like. Good players hate drawing the ball or overhooking the ball. Bad golfers or worse golfers tend to hate slicing the ball or overfading the ball. We all have our own issues and we all want to try and change what we do. So basically what we want to do at the top of this backswing, as we start down, ideal world, the center of mass and the shaft should move up and back, and you see there how that yellow stick just changes its shape. Now in order to initiate that, there's lots of things going on. My trail arm is rotating in a supination way. My trail wrist is going into a flatter shape, like I'm trying to catch something behind my shoulder. My lead arm is pronating and my lead wrist is pronating and ideally flexing to get that club face in a stronger position. And you see there when I do these actions how that shaft changes. Now we can think all about the pronations and supinations and stuff, or we can just think about pointing that shaft above the line on the floor. It's quite a simple way of looking at it. So we can make things very complex or very simple depending on what suits your brain and your learning. So in the bad move, it's the opposite. The lead wrist goes into a more extended state or cup state. The shaft lines up with the wrist and the arm much quicker, and even goes past that point. And this is exaggerating, but it goes past that point. So when that happens, the body will tend to go forward, sternum ahead of the ball, head ahead of the ball. The body will get much leveler, much quicker. The upper body gets much more wide class on top of the lower half, rather than behind the lower half. And from there, we get into this left side bend too quickly. Now, when we do the good move, you'll see here the lead hip goes slightly towards target as it's rotating. So there's a bump on rotation. The upper body and sternum stay kind of where they are, right side bending ever so slightly before then as we turn actually, and then as we turn and left side bend to get the club back on ball. But there is definitely a different tilt in the body. There's a different sequence with the body, as in the lower half is leading far more when we don't come over the top. Guys who come over the top tend to have very flat feet at this stage, and then as they get nearer the golf ball, a lot of high heel raising, knee going towards the golf ball to try and make up for what they've done. So essentially there's quite a bit of difference between the two. How can we make it correct? So for me, the best way to do it is to rehearse swings. If you go to the top of the backswing and then start to feel you're going to pump the arms down, feeling a little right side bend, try and make an effort of making that shaft go up and back, the trail shoulder going up and back, and we feel that we're staying behind that ball maybe a little bit more than before. Now there's a chance in doing that you might stay behind too much. But again, the slice of this world, to stand here and hit a high right shot, not slicing, or a high over draw shot, is kind of a good first stage change process. Because quite quickly you'll get back to wanting to get to that golf ball. You're attracted to the ball, you're eager to get to the ball, and you'll turn more neutrally and onto the ball quite naturally. So feeling we have this kind of over shallowing emphasis, and if you want to, point the butt of the club, get the butt of the club to go towards the ball a little bit earlier in that transition. This is the over the top move, the butt of the club comes more towards my body. If I feel the butt of the club goes out towards the ball, you'll see I get this kind of sense of shape. So from the top of the swing, how can I get that butt of the club traveling more outwards rather than down towards my hips? There's quite a few instructors and people out there that feel that the more we do this, the better. Well, as you can see me doing this, the center of mass in the shaft is actually tipping this way. So it allows me to get my arms deep, but it doesn't necessarily allow me to get that club shallow. So the hands in reality work in kind of a diagonal line like this. And some people's are too far out, some people's are too far in. Ideally, we want them to travel on the correct arc so the club can work correctly. So rehearsing these moves with a stick or a T-peg out the end, looking at where it points will help give you the awareness of where you should be to be orthodox or correct. Slight side note in here, obviously if your ball flight is beautiful, consistent, correct, no body pain, then just carry on doing what you're doing. Right? This is all about giving you the understanding of how we can make our golf swings better. If we take my swing as an example, as I said to you in the introduction, I get a little bit too steep in this transition. So I tend to right side bend too late at impact, which gives me back pain. So the more I can get the club shallower and rotate through the ball, I'm going to control the club head and club face a lot better through impact, but also it's going to help my body. Let's go through and hit a shot. Let's try and give it that rehearsals. So top of the swing, that kind of move. So really try to shallow that one. Let's hit another one. Really try to shallow that one nice and slowly. I'm going to go a little bit faster on this one, a bit more natural. Nice high draw there down the fairway, a little bit off balance, but certainly got the draw shape. Certainly felt like I shallowed that quite a lot. So there we have it, the keys, the differences between the over-the-top move and the correct move. You know, I'm trying to again really educate you the difference between good and bad, or let's say good and better, because they both can be quite functional and workable depending on the ball flight you want and what you're capable of doing. Never really like saying things are bad. It's always about how we can be better, how we can develop, how we can improve. That's really my mantra really on coaching. So I hope you've enjoyed this video and this style of video. If you do, let me know down below. You know, chat, join the conversation. Tell me if you want to see more kind of good versus better in different parts of the golf swing. Also, if you have enjoyed the video, please like and share the video. I really appreciate if you can do that. It really helps my channel grow. So thank you for that if you can. Lastly, if you haven't subscribed or followed me, please hit my logo down this bottom corner. Join me on my journey. Let's lower your scores and improve your golf. And thank you for joining me today, and thank you for watching, and see you again here soon.